Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Pete, and thank you, Father Nate. I would like to begin by thanking the Monogram Club for having me here to speak tonight. I'm so honored to stand up here before you, and I wanted to congratulate each and every one of you on this incredible achievement. Earning a Monogram jacket here is a really big deal, and it should not go unnoticed how hard work you put in and everything it took to get to this point. Like Matt said, my name's Trey Mancini. I'm a proud graduate of Notre Dame, class of 2014. I played baseball here for 3 years before being drafted by the Baltimore Orioles in 2013. And I was lucky enough to be able to come back in simultaneous years for a few fall semesters to finish up. Mostly thanks to Steve Solman. I don't know if Steve, where he is, but Steve was huge in getting me to come back here. I'd probably be like a 12th year senior if it weren't for him. So thank you, Steve. Can't thank you enough, except for having me take pottery class as an elective. I grinded my way to a C+ in it, I think. Brought the GPA down a little bit, but that's okay. So I ended up being on campus for 6 or 7 years in a row. So I clearly had a hard time leaving here. And it was an honor and privilege to be in my favorite place in the world for so many years. I'd like to take a moment to recognize each of the teams represented here tonight. I know the baseball guys are here. I came back up here with a few of my former teammates last month and all of our wives, and I got to meet all the baseball guys, Coach Stifler. It was a highlight of the weekend, so I'm going to be watching you guys, rooting for you this season. We also have, and let me know if I forget anybody, we have softball, men's and women's basketball, men's and women's golf, hockey, men's tennis, track and field, swimming and diving, rowing, fencing team who finished last season as the national runners-up, so congrats to our fencers on that awesome achievement. And we have men's and women's lacrosse. Men's lacrosse, where are you guys at? Congrats, guys. Back-to-back national championships. It was so fun to watch you guys last year. I watched the national championship against Maryland and didn't break a sweat the whole time. It was awesome. Do we have any Kavanaughs still left on the team? One? All right, good. I feel good either way, but they seem to be quite good at lacrosse, so glad we still got one. Few truly understand the dedication it takes to get to the position that you all find yourselves in tonight. Not only did you excel enough in high school to get recruited here, but you continued to hone your craft and you earned the right to wear this jacket for the rest of your lives. Take some time tonight to enjoy what that means and what it took for all of you to get to this point. I know we're already well into this school year. You're probably focused on getting ready for finals. You're juggling studying, you're trying to maintain your social life, you're getting ready for your seasons. But if I've learned anything these past few years, which Matt talked about briefly and I'll get into in a second, it's that it's okay to pat ourselves on the back once in a while, and I could not think of a better time to do that than tonight. So I was being recruited to play baseball here 15 years ago at this point, which is crazy, but every coach, professor, staff member all said the same thing. They said, Notre Dame's not a 4-year decision, it's a 40-year decision. And I've just been told that it's now 4 for forever, I believe. So I'm glad to hear that's still our recruiting pitch because it's sick and it made me commit on the spot, basically. And it's true. And it took time for me to realize how accurate that statement is. And, you know, of course, Notre Dame puts you in a great position to succeed when you leave here. There's a very vast alumni network ready to help you out once you graduate. But more than that, you're making friends here who become lifelong family. And that especially rings true when you're a member of a sports team here. So I personally experienced this at one of the worst times in my life. A couple weeks shy of my 28th birthday, I was in spring training with the Orioles. And I was shockingly diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. And it was really tough news. I was coming off the best year of my career. I was getting ready to build on that the next year, and it all kind of came crashing down very quickly. I was staring down a massive surgery, 6 months of chemo, and a slightly better than 50-50 shot of surviving. I had surgery on March 12, 2020, which happened to be the day the world completely shut down due to COVID. Hours after my operation, about 10 of my former teammates from here, several of which I actually received my jacket with, were in the recovery room with me alongside my wife Sarah and my family. Even with so much going on in the world, all the craziness happening, they made it a priority to be in Baltimore, to be there with me in that unfathomable time. So my friends from here and I have always been there for each other's big moments in our lives, which up to that point was basically bachelor parties and weddings. So it was all really fun up until that point, but nonetheless, happy moments. And my cancer diagnosis was really the first tough moment. And everybody was there on a whim, front and center, no questions asked, just like we always are. So eventually, I had my successful surgery. I went through 6 long months of chemo and was able to be ready in time for the 2021 season. It was filled with some of the biggest peaks and valleys I've experienced in my career, but I'll highlight one moment in particular. I was invited to participate in the Home Run Derby that season in Denver in July of that year. Side note on that, our former pitching coach here, Chuck Ristano, threw to me in the Home Run Derby. I promised him when I was playing baseball here that if I was ever in it, that he could throw to me, not ever expecting that to happen, and sure enough it did. He was my first phone call, and he did an unbelievable job. So we made it all the way to the finals until Pete Alonso just rocked us. But it was still such a fun experience, one of the highlights of my life. But even more than the Derby itself, the highlight of the evening was seeing that same crew from the hospital the year prior, all in Denver at Coors Field. I have a picture on my phone of my wife and the whole crew of guys all standing there in the crowd together, and it's just one of my favorites due to the big full circle moment it produced. The previous year in the hospital, I wasn't sure if I was going to live very long, much less play baseball again. So to have everybody there was just so special. And, like I said, your friends here and sometimes your coaches become your family. So I spent most of this year thinking I was retired from baseball. I had a pretty rough 2023 season and was in spring training with the Marlins this year, didn't make the team. So I just took it to the house and tried to think about what the future held for me. And I also played an absurd amount of pickleball and still am. I'm trying to wane off a little bit right now. But it was the first time in my life since I was about 5 years old that baseball didn't take up at least some portion of my day. It allowed me time to reflect on my career, what I appreciated the most about it, and what I would do differently if I was given another opportunity. I particularly thought about my time here at Notre Dame and what made it so special. And I realized that it's here that I learned the importance of being part of something bigger than yourself. And this also helped me to decide to make one more comeback attempt this fall. So it'll be attempt number 3. So fingers crossed, 3rd time's a charm. And I know it's not always easy for you guys. It's really difficult to keep perspective when you have a 5 a.m. workout. You're vying for playing time. You're going through a rough patch in the season. But when you keep your head down, when you work hard, and you're doing things for the right reasons, things tend to take care of themselves in the end, and you're usually rewarded for that. Incredible things can be accomplished when you have a group of unselfish individuals pulling in one direction, trying to achieve a common goal. I got to experience this in the Astros in 22. It was such a cool, special group, just a well-oiled machine. It was really neat to be a part of. Lax guys, I'm sure you experienced that last year. There's few greater feelings in the world than achieving the team's ultimate goal. Even more important than that, though, and I know how cliche this sounds, are the friendships you make along the way. I promise you, whether you're done playing your sport after your career at Notre Dame or you play 20 years professionally, it's what you're going to appreciate the most when you finish up, is all the friends you make and the people that become lifelong family throughout the ride. So my biggest piece of advice to all of you is to enjoy being with each other every day in the same place, at this awesome school, because it goes by really fast. 4 years here flies by. And I know you hear that all the time, but it really is true. So make sure to enjoy every part of the ride. I'd like to take 1 second to congratulate all the parents here as well. I know how proud all of you are of your children for earning this jacket and how many sacrifices you made over the years to help make it happen. So I didn't want that to go unnoticed. I wanted to congratulate all of you as well. I'd like to thank the Monogram Club once again for thinking of me, having me speak here tonight. It's been an honor and a privilege, and it's been so great to be back here in South Bend. And I'd like to congratulate all of you one more time. Good luck in your seasons, and go Irish.